Hi guys, it's me, Sam here today, and today we are going to declutter some palettes. I felt the need to kind of just go through my collection and pull out some products that I know I don't use, and that way I can see and feel out my collection a little bit better. So we're just going to go over all of the items that I decided that I'm going to declutter. I'm going to give these to friends and family, and yeah, if you enjoy videos like this, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can come back and see more content. And let's get started. I am going to start with the smallest ones first, and I'm going to say shamefully that I know I've decluttered some of these before, and for one reason or another they have made their way back into my collection because maybe I thought I needed them for a video, maybe I thought I was going to give them to somebody in particular, and then that didn't happen. Whatever the reason may be, they are literally going to leave this time because I cannot. So let's get started. I'm going to go with the littlest ones first. So these bite size from e.l.f. I did pick up the ones for the Dunkin' Donuts, and I will say they are better quality for sure. They're not as hard pressed. This is my problem with these other ones, and I know some people really like these, but honestly I think I kept this one because I don't really have a green palette, but now that I have the ones from Beauty Bay, I don't need this pumpkin one. I thought, you know, oh, there's one shade that works in here, like, oh, I should keep it, but I'm really gonna let it go. I never reach for these because I'm not a huge fan of the formula in these ones. I feel like they're just too hard pressed into the pan, and for that reason they are going. If you're curious, this is the hot jalapeno and this is the pumpkin pie. Then we're gonna get rid of these Wet n Wild color icons. I really wanted to like these. Everybody else seemed to like them, and I don't know. I don't know why I kept them, because I have Wet n Wild formulas that I do like, and this is just not it. So this one is Petalette. I think I'm going to give this one to my 6-year-olds because it's cute, light little pink ditty going on here. And then this is my Lucky Charm. I kept this because honestly I love the color story in here. And I just thought maybe if I work with it hard enough, maybe there's a top layer I need to get through, whatever. But I'm just not going to reach for this. I have better quality shadows with similar, you know, colors that I can just use. This one I'm going to get rid of just because I have way too many. I probably have like 15 to 20 of these little quads from ColourPop, and this is probably the one I'm least likely going to use. This is the Like a Virgo. This is one that I actually was really excited to get, but it's a little bit more meh than I anticipated. This dual chrome shade here is just not as impressive as I thought, and I don't really use silvers, so this is gonna go. I actually have already decluttered a couple of these other ones and gave them to my 6-year-old, the coral one, but I'm gonna also get rid of this bronzed this way from Essence. Not that I don't like this. This is actually a really good quality shadow from the drugstore. It's just that I have way too many. And so I did keep the green one and the taupe one, but I'm going to let this one go because I have this color story in other palettes. So this one's going to go. This is the ColourPop Digital Playground. This is actually not the original version of the palette. This is all the shimmers from this palette and another one. I forgot the name of it, but I have it somewhere in the drawer. I put all the mattes in one and the shimmers in the other because I was not impressed at all with the shimmers from these palettes, but I did like the pastel mattes that were in here. So I'm going to get rid of the shimmers and keep the mattes. This is the e.l.f. Aqua Beauty Island Breeze palette, and I actually freaking love this palette, but it's so old. I know that it's expired and it needs to just get thrown away. I do believe they still sell this, and who knows, maybe one day I'll pick it up again. This is a cream shadow palette, and this shade right here, I mean, absolutely stunning, and it gives such a beautiful wet look. looks way more expensive than it is, but I know that it's old, like it's ancient. So I really need to get rid of this, especially with it being cream. So yeah, I'm just gonna get rid of it out of principle. I know it's expired. So then we have the Violet Voss Essentials. I really like Violet Voss's formula, but this palette I absolutely never reach for. The color story is just not enough for me. It's not colorful enough for me, and I just never ever reach for this, so I'm gonna let it go. This Be Perfect Manifest palette. I feel like I may have tried to declutter this at one point. It's just so enormous. I think if I remember correctly, I think I had some intention that I was going to depot the mattes because the mattes are so good in here, and that never happened. So it just needs to go. I have these colors in other palettes. It's enormous. And I'm not a fan of the shimmers in here or the pressed glitters. So it really just, yeah, it's not it for me. The next thing I want to get rid of is the BH Cosmetics Weekend Vibes Belgian Waffles palette. This is a face palette. It's like bronzer and highlight situation, and these bronzers are way too light for me, and I only really like the one highlight in the center, and honestly I can't keep this whole palette for one highlight. I have other highlights that I like better or just as much, so I'm just gonna let that one go. This one is from She Glam. It's the Untamed palette. I actually really love the She Glam shimmer formula. And sometimes they have these like squishy shadows that are just so beautiful. But I have too many, and this is a color story that I feel like all the shadows don't work for me. I really just like this one and this taupey one here. It looks kind of dry and crumbly when you pick it up on your finger, but like on the eye it looks absolutely stunning, but I just can't keep everything for one or two shades. Like that's just not realistic. So I'm going to let this one go. And this one I thought I was going to hold on to forever because of the e.l.f. situation on here. This is from Makeup Revolution. I got this for Christmas. I thought, you know, we watch this every year with the children, and I just thought, oh, you know, this is so cute. It makes me think of the kids. I'm going to keep it. I just realized I don't know where I put my coffee. But anyway. And the color story is kind of cute, but the formula in here is not good at all, and it's just taking up space in my collection. I really cannot keep things just because of the packaging. It has to be cute packaging and be good for me to keep it. So I'm going to let this one go. The next palette I'm going to get rid of is this Wet n Wild Saved by the Bell palette. I picked this up because I was just curious, and to be honest, the quality of the shadows in here are really good. This blue is really gorgeous. This purple shade I think is so pretty on the eye. It's really cute, but like I'm not gonna really reach for this palette. It's a little too neutral for me. The pops, there's only really like two. If you take these two out, I feel like this is like a normal neutral palette with a couple of pinks. So yeah, I just don't want to keep it just for that. I have palettes that have all of these shades in here, so I'm going to let this one go. This palette is kind of funny. This next palette is kind of funny that I'm going to get rid of it because I honestly never thought I would. But it is the Juvia's Place Masquerade palette. It's a half colorful, half neutral palette, and to be honest, like we have all of these shades in like the Warrior palettes, and then I have the colorful shades, but like the new updated better formulas in her Wahala palettes. So I just don't feel like I need to have this anymore. It's one of my first palettes that I ever picked up from Juvia's Place, and one of the reasons I fell in love with that brand so much. Part of me wants to keep it for the sentimental value of that, but like if I'm being realistic, I don't reach for this palette anymore. I reach for the Wahala ones way more, and I just got the Culture palettes, and so I just feel like I can't justify keeping everything. So I'm going to let this one go. I may regret that one day, but I'm going to let it go. This is a palette I picked up as a Ipsy add-on. This is the IBY Beauty Ocean Awakening palette. This is really pretty and colorful, but it's just not a palette that I've reached for in a really, really long time. It has sat in the drawer for so very long. I've used it maybe 2 times, maybe 3, and that's it. And I feel like that's so wasteful to just keep it in the drawer. I don't remember having a bad time with this palette, but the shimmers are very traditional. They're not like special, I will say that. The mattes are decent, but I just feel like I don't use it. So if my daughter or one of her friends can take it, my 13-year-old daughter, and one of her friends can take it, that would be probably best. The next one is from Sample Beauty. It's the Plush palette. I actually lusted over this palette for such a long time, and then I purchased it like 8 months ago and never used it. I think I swatched it. The quality seemed really nice, but I never like put it on my eyeballs. So I'm gonna let it go. It's a lot of neutrals. I picked it up mostly for this bottom row here, but it's like I feel like I have all those shades in my Beauty Bay palettes, and yeah, I just can't justify holding on to it, so I'm gonna let this one go. This palette's so funny. When I pulled this out and had it on my bed to film for this video, my husband saw it and was like, I can't believe you're getting rid of that. Like, that is crazy, but I am. This is the Jaclyn Hill palette. It's one of the original ones. They have updated packaging now. I don't think this is like the original launch one, because I think I got it like the second time it went out, but because the first ones didn't have the names on the back. So yeah, this is pretty old. I have not used this in years, in absolute years, and they still sell this at Ulta. It's an updated version, updated packaging, but I don't use this. There's so many neutral. It's pretty much all neutrals. If you take away these 4, it's like, okay, like I'm not gonna use that. And I have ColourPop palettes and stuff that are a little bit smaller that have just as many shadows. I don't need it. It's crazy. This little Jouer palette, I'm gonna give it to my daughter, my 13-year-old, because she likes soft makeup, like just one and done type of shadow, and it's really, really cute, but they're very light tones that I would not use. She likes very minimal makeup, and she's 13. She should not be wearing dramatic stuff just yet. But yeah, I love this shade here, this blue. It is a dual chrome, which is pretty cool. And that's partly why I've held on to it for so long. It's like, oh, this shade is so pretty, and the formula is really nice and smooth. I would say it's very similar to like Charlotte Tilbury's formula, but the color story overall is not my favorite. This is called the Ultra Foil Eyeshadow Palette. It's really cute too. It's not too bulky or big, so yeah, I think this will be a good little addition to my daughter's makeup collection. She has a totally different aesthetic than I do, but this is another palette that I've had in my drawer. I haven't used in ever. So I feel like somebody else should get their hands on it. It is the Catrice Pro palette in Neon Earth. And look, it still has the plastic over it. It's brand new. It's all neutrals. I'm never going to use that. Be realistic. These 2 palettes, oh my god, makeup I regret buying. These Ulta palettes, the Monsters Inc. and the Finding Nemo. I also picked up the Toy Story one. That one I am going to keep, which is the most neutral, but Toy Story has a little bit more of a sentimental part of my heart than these 2. My youngest has already dabbled in this, so it is definitely going to her. This is the Finding Nemo themed one, which is called Fish Are Friends Not Food, and whoop, there we go. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's very neutral. That's why I just never use these. But if my 6-year-old wants to play with it with her little friends, that's fine. And the same with this one. I thought this was going to be more colorful than it actually is. This is the Monsters Inc. theme one called We Scare Because We Care. The packaging is cute. They look like little bed sheets or something, but they're not that special. And then we have a couple more She Glam things here. I think that's it. We have the She Glam Glacial Goddess palette, which is like a blue and green. The color story is really cute in here, but I've only used this like once or twice. It does have that really beautiful shimmer formula that I just love. But again, I cannot keep things for like 1 or 2 shadows. I did keep a couple of the She Glam palettes that I do reach for the sparkles way more, and I might actually depot those because I do use them all the time. But this one I barely reach for, so I'm gonna let it go. And then the She Glam 3D Pro Face palettes, we're gonna let this one go too. It's a highlighter palette, but I never use this. I feel like a couple of them are like really dry formula. Only one of them is a little bit like that thicker traditional formula. It's pretty good, but I'm not going to keep this for one, and the bronzer in here is a little too light and too orange. So that is all the palettes that I'm going to get rid of right now. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. And until next time, thank you again for spending your time with me. I really do appreciate it. Love you guys. See you later. Bye.